Donald Trump has just been inaugurated the President of the United States of America, and the financial markets are freaking out because of it. But how is this going to affect Puerto Rico and its housing market? Is Donald going to mess it up? Or what? Seems like we've just seen this story before. We're back, baby. Donald Trump is back. Joe Biden is out. Let's see if it's good or bad. We're going to get into it. What will Donald Trump's impact be on the island of Puerto Rico? Here's some key points to consider. Number one, tax policy changes. Donald Trump is pushing for big corporate tax cuts. How could this impact Act 20 or Act 22? We now call it Act 60. For the island of Puerto Rico. And are these new tax policies that Trump plans to implement going to have more people moving to the island? Donald Trump is all about cutting corporate taxes, right? But here's the catch. Puerto Rico already has great tax incentives like Act 20, Act 22. Now it's all rolled up into Act 60. If Trump slashes taxes on the mainland, why will wealthy investors need to continue to move to the island of Puerto Rico? Many locals would applaud the fact that there wouldn't be a whole bunch of new people with a bunch of money moving to the island because they falsely believe that these people moving here are actually increasing the property values so much that it's affecting locals. You can't talk about Donald Trump and his tax cutting plan for corporations without also talking about tariffs. Donald Trump has been beating the tariff drum for the last several months, and he's threatening to put tariffs on everyone. How will this help or impact the island of Puerto Rico? The fear is that tariffs are going to increase prices on goods. That could be true, but it's also going to drive manufacturing inside of the United States. And because Puerto Rico is set up to be a key manufacturing hub for the U.S., this could actually be very positive for the island of Puerto Rico. It could drive tons of job growth here on the island. Last time that Trump was in office, he was all about bringing the pharmaceutical industry back to the island of Puerto Rico so that we didn't have to rely on China. What do you guys think? Are Trump's tax and tariff policies going to be a boon for the island of Puerto Rico, or is it going to hurt the island of Puerto Rico? Leave me some comments. I know you've got an opinion. Here's a second way that Trump could affect the island of Puerto Rico, and it could be good or it could be bad. Federal funding and disaster relief. The island of Puerto Rico depends heavily on these funds, especially after disasters like hurricanes and earthquakes. Trump has a history of cutting spending where he thinks it doesn't benefit the mainland. And guys, if disaster relief or infrastructure funding gets slashed on the island of Puerto Rico, that's bad. In fact, this could stall rebuilding efforts. It could hurt local jobs. It could really be a problem for the island of Puerto Rico. It could also freeze up other parts of the economy, like the housing market. Guys, I'm a value-add real estate investor, and I came to the island after one of these massive disasters, after Hurricane Maria, and I saw how the island has been resilient and how it is rebuilt. I know that these funds are tremendously important, so I, for one, am hoping that Trump isn't going to cut those kind of services. Hopefully, he's all talk in this case. I voted for the guy, but guys, I love the island of Puerto Rico too, and I don't want to see his policies hurt the island. Again, let's talk about it inside of the comments. I know you guys have great opinions on this stuff, and I want to have a lively discussion on it. Donald Trump is a topic where everybody's got an opinion. Half of you hate him, half of you love him. Let's talk about it. Oh, and give this video a like. Number 3, here's the big one, guys. Interest rates. If markets continue to be unstable, rates may go up. Higher rates would mean tighter lending. And in Puerto Rico, where we already have a problem with liquidity on the island, that could crush new development and make it much harder for locals to buy homes. We're already seeing signs that interest rates aren't going to go down as rapidly as we thought they were. The Fed has indicated that because the economy has seemingly soft landed, they're going to cut rates less, which means there will be less liquidity on the mainland, and if there's less liquidity on the mainland, there will naturally be less liquidity on the island of Puerto Rico. Not to mention, going back to Trump and his tariffs, he keeps beating that drum about tariffs. Don't think I'm a big fan of these tariffs, so I hope that he's using this as a negotiation tactic and not actually planning to implement these things, because tariffs are inflationary. Inflationary is bad. If inflation is up, interest rates will stay high. High interest rates are bad for development. And guys, we have a housing shortage on the island of Puerto Rico. We have 300,000 houses that are needed to impact the demand that already exists. And we just simply don't have the development because we don't have the liquidity to build the houses. We need more investment. We need more real estate investors, and we need more houses. I think we've already been doing this, but let's further break down the good, the bad, and the ugly. If Trump is successful and he boosts the economy in the mainland, some investors are going to look for safe, high-yield investments. And guess what? Puerto Rico real estate could be on their radar. More investors could drive demand, which would drive higher property values, especially for cash flowing properties. So we're not talking about housing at this point, guys. We're talking about strip malls. We're talking about actual malls. We're talking about grocery store properties. We're talking about cash flowing assets that mainland investors would want to come here to buy at a higher cap rate than they can buy in the mainland. Hey guys, I don't ever like to be negative Nelly. I always want to be a positive force for good. And even though I have some things that I may disagree with the guy on, I did vote for him. I am confident that he's going to do a good job. And let's talk about some of the stuff that he's done in the past that could be really good for Puerto Rico's economic future. President Trump has proposed several incentives aimed to revitalizing Puerto Rico's manufacturing sector. He's particularly focused on the pharmaceutical industry. Some of his key strategies that he's mentioned have included financial investments in infrastructure. Back in September of 2020, the then Trump administration announced allocations of nearly $13 billion in federal aid for Puerto Rico. This funding was designated for crucial infrastructure projects, such as repairing the electrical grid, which if you live on the island of Puerto Rico, you know still is a mess, and rebuilding educational facilities. A robust infrastructure is essential for attracting and sustaining manufacturing operations on the island. Number 2, incentives for pharmaceutical manufacturing. Trump recognized Puerto Rico's historical role for manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, and he wants to reestablish the island of Puerto Rico as a hub for the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. And he wanted to do that because he didn't want to have us relying on China. And he wants to leverage Puerto Rico's existing capabilities and the facilities that are already here. For example, Lilly, the pharmaceutical giant, made a large investment on an existing manufacturing plant on the island of Puerto Rico. They're back, baby. Number 3. Last time Trump was in office, he was advocating for legislative support. During coronavirus, Trump wanted the island of Puerto Rico to start producing the pharmaceuticals that the U.S. needs, and also the medical equipment. Why this ever left the island of Puerto Rico? That's a baffling question, but it could come back, and if it does, it's going to be a boon for the economy. These critical supply chains, they deserve to be here. They need to be here. Why would we, as the United States of America, be getting our pharmaceutical drugs from China? It just doesn't make any sense, and Trump knows it. I think we're in a bit of a wait and see. Trump just got in today. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments, and let's have a discussion about it. And guys, then let's look back at this video 6 months from now and then a year from now and see how the guy has actually done. Let's give the guy a chance. I, for one, I voted for him. I'm rooting for him. I want him to do a great job, but I have questions. I'm not a big fan of tariffs, and I don't want him to cut disaster aid for the island of Puerto Rico. If you're serious about investing in Puerto Rico, now is the time to double down and learn how to navigate these uncertain markets. As real estate investors, we know that uncertainty can cause opportunity. We've created a community of real estate investors, like-minded entrepreneurs who are there waiting to network with you and to learn with you and ultimately to do deals with you. You can join for free. The link's in the description. It's called the Flip Flop Flipper Real Estate Community. Or if you want to kick it up a notch, if you're ready to become a real estate investor and get yourself out of the rat race, consider joining my Apex community to connect with people who are making moves and securing deals no matter who's in office. Trump's presidency could shake up things in Puerto Rico for good or for bad. But remember, markets always shift. Smart investors always adapt, and the deal of a lifetime is just around the corner. We're going to find ours. What are you going to do? Leave a comment below. Are you worried about what's going on with the new president coming to office? Do you think he's going to do great things for the island of Puerto Rico and the mainland itself? Or are you a Trump hater and you think he's going to screw everything up and everything that's been going good is going to go bad? I know half of you are on one side and the other half are on the other side. I love it. Let's talk about it.